I really had to come back home to myself because I'm going to make mistakes and I still make mistakes.
You're listening to Speak Mother, a podcast about reclaiming your voice, your identity, and your truth inside modern motherhood. I'm your host, Shannon Warner. Let's get into it. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so happy you're here. And this week, I am so excited to welcome back another familiar name and face, Fran Medina. You all loved her episode when she was a guest previously on the Having a Mom Moment podcast, and I could not wait to have her back. As a reminder, Fran Medina is a holistic nurse and life coach with 43 years of nursing experience in the art and science of health and healing. Fran is a certified facilitator of the Creative Clarity Catalyst programs and the co-founder of the Conscious Connection, a wellness and healing network in Hudson Valley, New York. Fran is the podcast host of It's Messy, But It's So Good, and she holds certifications in various healing and holistic modalities, including coaching, EFT, and Akashic Record consultations. Please enjoy this conversation with my dear friend, Fran Medina. Everyone, I am so excited to welcome my friend, Fran Medina, back to the podcast. Hi, Fran.
Hello, Shannon.
I am so glad you're here. And it's funny because I've told a similar story with Hannah, who the podcast appearance was kind of the tip of our iceberg, and we've just gotten to know each other more and collaborate and learn more about each other over the past couple of years. And it's been such a gift. So Fran joined us on the podcast back in December of 2023, and your episodes was one of our most popular. So I'm so excited to welcome you back. And I'm just so excited to see where we go today, knowing what else we know about each other now and where we are in our journeys and all of the things. So thank you for being here.
Well, I love speaking with you, and I just want to acknowledge you for your growth and how you're just moving in the direction that's calling you now. So I love watching it.
Oh, thank you, Fran. Fran had me on her podcast earlier this year, not too long ago.
Yes, not
So
too long
I'll
ago.
link that. Fran is also a fellow podcaster. So we'll make sure
Mhm.
we've got links to all of that in the show notes as well. But she gets this whole experience, this whole journey of connecting to people through podcasting and sharing stories and storytelling. So it's so fun. So part of my vision for this podcast, this reboot from Having a Mom Moment to Speak Mother, was to bring on mothers specifically who are a little farther in their journeys than we
Mhm.
are. I know how much I've changed and grown since the podcast went live. How old was she? I had a 1-year-old at the time who is
Oh,
now 4. She's my youngest. My oldest is 9. So we've shifted into a different phase of life. But as I was telling Fran before we hit record, this has been one of those weeks where I feel very much in the trenches.
yeah.
So even though I've come, out of the toddler and infancy trenches, the trenches still come. They just might be shaped a little bit differently. So I'm really looking forward to the perspective of someone who is farther in their journey and getting ready to enter into their grandma era, right?
Yes, yes, in May, God
It's
willing.
so exciting. I'm so excited for you. And you shared your perspective a bit last time about, being a mother of adult children and the journey to that. But can we talk more about the process or the unlearning that kind of took place for you in motherhood, from the beginning, middle, or wherever in the journey where you're like, this is
Yeah,
what I thought, and this is not what it is.
yes. Well, of course, many mothers feel like they need to be perfect in their motherhood. And that, if we make mistakes, it's going to cause so much trauma to our children and we're
Yes.
going to ruin them forever. But through the years, I just feel like I really had to come like back home to myself because I'm going to make mistakes and I still make mistakes. Am I saying too much? Am I advising my kids instead of maybe sitting back and allowing them to just talk and me being kind of like a coach in a sense where, I'm not partial to one way or another. And it's very, very difficult because I think having children and being a mom is the most precious thing I know in my life and the biggest job. And I have a tendency to want to control. I want to control the outcome. And through the years, through my own journey, I just realized that pushing is not going to open my kids up to really having the kind of relationship I want with them.
Hmm.
So, what I do and what has helped me a lot is to have my own practice before I speak to my kids about something that they might be navigating in life that's pretty heavy, because of course they will go through that.
Of
They're human
course.
beings. I try to really get a different perspective and take some time to reflect on it. And I don't always do it perfect. I mean, there's times when I, might say the wrong thing, but that's okay because if you've nurtured that relationship all along with your child, I really feel that, you can say, I'm sorry, and they'll forgive you. And maybe that's not in every mother's relationship, but I just feel that having your own perspective and not criticizing oneself for little mistakes or big mistakes along the way is very important. That's something that I remember when my kids, I don't know if I told the story, but my kids were really young and we were in the car and they wanted this, they wanted that, financial things. And we were going through a little bit of a tight period at that time, my husband and I just broke down hysterical in the car, because I felt like I can't take it anymore. I was like overwhelmed with all the things they wanted. And I knew that I couldn't provide it to them materially
Hmm.
that moment. And they looked at me and then I felt guilty.
Mm.
I felt like, oh my God, I'm traumatizing my children. I'm showing them a fear that I have, and that's not healthy for them. But, later on, when I thought about it, I apologized and I said, listen, I'm really sorry, but, you know, you have to realize that right now, Dad and I are working through some things with money. We have some, costs and expenses. And it's not that you cannot have these things, but right now I just was overwhelmed
Hmm.
with the fact that I wanted to provide you with something and I just couldn't. They said, it's okay, Mom. It's okay. I'm almost crying because I was honest. And yeah, I didn't handle the situation, but that was my vulnerability in that moment. So what can I say? I mean,
Right.
yeah. And I owned up to it and I had a conversation with them and they got it. Even though they were kind of on the young side, they, you know, were more concerned, I think, with me connecting with them than the thing that they wanted in that moment. They got it.
Hmm.
So, that's just a little example. We're not going to always be perfect. There's no such thing as we know as perfection, although in our own minds, it's very hard to get out of that loop.
Hmm.
And then the control part. Again, it's normal to want to control. When we're overwhelmed, we don't know the unknown, we want the best outcome. You're going to feel that way, but it's pulling back and kind of having reflecting and saying, okay, what's going on with me? What fears do I have? What am I projecting onto my kids? Because I am very aware when I am projecting my own shame or my own fears onto my kids.
Mm.
And I have to take responsibility for that because, you know, okay, if I do it, I do it. But then I have to really reflect on it and then say to myself, okay, how can I shift this, when I speak to them again? And, if I need to apologize, I apologize. most of the time they don't even like absorb it that way. It's more me having the pressure that, am I being the best mom that I could be?
Hmm.
And there's no such thing as the best mom. And now, like going into becoming a grandmother is a whole nother thing. I have no idea because people tell me it's the best job in the whole world.
Mm, yeah.
But I mean, until it feels very unreal to me right now, and it'll become real in
Yes.
time. But, that's a whole nother journey that I can't even speak to because I haven't experienced it. But I know that the connection of seeing my daughter, I guess it's a generational thing where you see, your legacy living on. And I do have to say, because I did speak about my infertility journey on the last podcast, I realized that having my kids was really from my deep desire to keep going through a very difficult journey. And now having a grandchild, it's like this generation is moving forward from, of course, the universe, divine source, you know, being part of that, but me being so determined to, move that forward. And I'm proud of that, because that was a lot of hard work,
Yeah.
a lot of digging.
Yeah. Oh, I never considered it from the infertility perspective. Like how special, right? Yeah, because you like dug in and got through it and overcame those trials. No, it's playing out and oh, that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's playing out ongoing and ongoing and
Yeah.
ongoing. Of course, you know, praying that everything does go
Of
that
course.
way.
Of course. Of course.
But, I don't take
Yeah.
anything for granted. So
Hmm.
I hope that answers some of the questions,
Yeah.
again, the themes of, emotional resilience through, I think really having an emotional or and spiritual practice within our own lives and being able to look and then not judge our emotions, but just see, okay, what is really going on and how can I transform that or transmute that? Because it's really not helpful.
No. And then the noticing and allowing yourself to notice without the judgment attached is
Yes.
it's not as easy, right? Though in having the awareness that you can notice without and then making the space for that and then deciding what you do. I think a lot of us don't even touch it because we're like, well, then I'm going to feel even worse because I've already decided all of these things about myself because I snapped on my kids or I did this or I did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
But it's in that quiet space that you get the relief. You know all this. I mean, you just go into a being state and then, everything is just neutralized. And
mm-hmm.
then your heart can expand.
Mm. Well, I know that I know it, but it doesn't mean
Hmm.
everyone listening knows it. So it takes practice. And I think if you listen to the podcast before the rebrand, like we talked so much about meditation and making space for yourself. And, even just allowing yourself space to get quiet can feel so scary. It can feel
Yeah.
intimidating, like what's going to come up. But if we can come back to, and this is my belief, is that I signed up for this experience. Yes. And if I can say that on the other end of the things that I've gone through in the past 5 or 6 years, like yeah, I believe I did sign up for this, all of it. But we're here to experience all of it, right? All of it, the highs and the lows and everything in between.
Yeah.
And I believe that my children are destined to be mine and that they signed up to experience all of this too. So anything that I can do to help myself in that process of, okay, I'm having a human experience. Sometimes I'm going to be hangry and tired and I'm going to snap and I'm being a human, right?
Mhm.
And then just from a counseling perspective, because I am a therapy girly, my therapist has shared with me, yes, repair work is important, but you only need to do it. I forgot the exact stat, but it was like around 50% of the time. Like You can
Mm.
mess up and then still mess up 50% of that time, and it's okay. Right. So just giving yourself so much space and grace to move through it. And Fran has the proof because her adult children are okay.
Yeah, they're really good people, and yeah, I feel very blessed, and I have close relationships with both of them, a male and female. So
And how old are they now?
my daughter is going to be 35 in April, and my son is 36. So I
Okay.
had them, I had my son, and then when he was 5 months old, I got pregnant with my daughter.
Wow. Mm.
Yeah, that was quite, after having infertility and then,
Wow.
just kind of tail ending, like still actually breastfeeding. And then, little
Wow.
surprise, which I remember I went to work and my supervisor said, "What's the matter? You look kind of down." And I said, "I'm pregnant." "Oh, that's wonderful." And I said, "Now I have a 5 month old and I'm going to feel so, how can I give him all this support and
Oh.
attention?" And she said, "Let me tell you something. I have 5 kids." And she said, "My last one is my biggest blessing." And that was a total shock.
Oh my
So
word.
she said, you get what God and divine brings to you, and there's always a reason, and it's always a blessing, and you'll be fine. And you know what? She was absolutely right. Um,
Oh yeah.
Somehow I got a sleeper. I
Oh
got a baby that slept 8 hours after 6 weeks old.
wow. We don't question it. We just go with it.
Yeah, hallelujah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So it was a lot, but I'm sure there are people listening out there that have had multiple pregnancies very quickly,
Oh my
and
goodness.
it's
Yeah.
it's a little scary, but again, things just work out, and if they don't work out, then you get support.
Hmm.
You find support. Because there's
Hmm.
support out there.
There is. There is. Wow. I never put together, I don't think that your kids were so close together. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thankfully, God did not, or universe source, whatever, did not decide that that was part of my journey because I wouldn't have made it. I would not have
No,
made it.
but I mean, looking back, I loved having them so close together. I
Yeah.
didn't think that, as I
Yeah.
said, but when I mean, they became such close friends, and they
Sure.
always had each other. And I was already in baby mode, so it just leaped into,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and it was fine.
Ours are almost 5 years apart, partially intentional. Then the pandemic happened, and it was like, oh, well, now's not a good time. So it's really interesting having one like totally potty trained and then having to wait 3 years to do it again, kind of a thing. It's like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah,
we could have been done with this. We could have been done with the pull-ups and the diapers and the wiping behinds and everything else. But it's given me a lot of perspective on how fast the time has gone with my oldest because I'm like, oh my gosh, look, we're already to this stage and we're packing up the crib for the last time and all of these pieces. So there's gifts in all of it. And I don't know if you know this, but um, when we were getting ready to try to have our second child, my husband was like, if we do this right now, you're gonna have a Christmas baby. And I was like, I don't care. I don't care. Like, I just want to like
what
let's.
does that mean?
Yeah. I mean, like the timeline, it's gonna be Christmas, right? And I was like, I don't even care. I just want to get this show on the road, right? Like none of us are getting any younger. And it turns out, I ended up pregnant, but was not due until January. And the month of December was when my dad had cancer, but fell ill, spent 2 weeks in the hospital, and then ultimately died.
Mm,
So, I mean, doing that very pregnant was not ideal. Doing that with a newborn would have been hellacious.
yeah,
So, and then in my grief, my youngest, was born 2.5 weeks after he died. I had no choice but to just sit under a baby and just be with it all. And I am so grateful. I'm so grateful that I was able to then have my 3 months of maternity leave. And you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
such a huge loss for me. Huge. I mean, losing a parent is terrible, but I knew it was going to be terrible. And it was just as terrible and worse. So to have this contrast, this physical contrast,
Yeah.
with me, it was such a gift, and the timing
Mm.
was no mistake. So
Yeah.
the journey.
Like really life reflecting that incredible contrast.
Yeah.
And then I could imagine like holding on to your child and just, you know, drinking in the life
Yeah.
of your child
Yeah.
and the gift.
Like I said, when you get a little distance from you in the event, you're like, okay, all right. Like I can see how this is serving the larger story of my life, even though the circumstances weren't ideal. And it just
Yeah. And
is.
giving yourself that time to go through it.
Hmm.
We don't have to rush through our grief.
Yeah. Yeah. Or any of it, any of the feelings that we're feeling. I think we feel so, and I might be projecting here, but I think a lot of us feel very busy and we feel that it's all moving so quickly. It's like I said, I blinked and now I have a 4-year-old. I'm like, what?
You know?
So it feels like sometimes, okay, if I don't have a space on Tuesday at 11 o'clock to handle this, there's no time to handle it. And I just have to keep moving.
Yeah. That's reflecting back because I haven't been in that kind of mindset of feeling the overwhelm of the busyness of motherhood in many years. My kids, after college, they left and they never came back. I mean that more like, they didn't have to come back,
Yeah, yeah.
making it out there. But, that overwhelm when you're raising children, a lot of pressure. Again, what I spoke to before of getting it perfect, of feeling like you're on a rat race. One thing that I saw in some other people around me, the need to put their kids in like 5 million things because they're feeling like otherwise they're not providing them all these experiences. And maybe it was my rhythm that I was sensitive to, and also my kids' rhythms and what they wanted to do and what they didn't. Now, some things we want to encourage our kids to do because we know, it's
Hmm.
important for them to have the experience when they really don't want to do it. And to not put them in 5 different activities. Personally, I felt that that was helpful to me because I was already running around to the softball games and the this and the that and the volunteering, and to just put them in so many things I think is so overwhelming for kids. Now, of course, if they truly, truly, truly love something and they want to do it and in multiple things, that's different. But, I didn't have kids like that. Like my kids really didn't like sports. My son's more of the artistic, and he went in that direction. And sometimes a lot of that was in his room playing guitar or drawing you know, and my daughter was not interested in sports. And what was she interested in? She took some art classes, but, she didn't have like something that really drew her. And I never kind of felt like totally overwhelmed in having them into too many activities. And, for me, that was good because it kind of went with my rhythm and went with their rhythm. And I think it helped save me from the extra overwhelm
Oh, yeah.
besides the regular
Oh,
overwhelm.
yeah.
But, every kid's different and every parent's different. But to just
Yes.
to like check yourself out and say, okay, I'm on a rat race and I want to get off.
Right.
And yeah, and to be okay with that because it is overwhelming. It is overwhelming. There's a lot of responsibility
And cost. That stuff is expensive.
and cost. Absolutely.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I love that you let it kind of be child led. I hear a lot of this. Well, I guess it's just the age of my kids and the neighborhood that I live in. But our neighbor, I think his oldest is a senior, his other one has graduated, but big into sports, big into sports. And we were just chatting over the fence one day, and he was saying how around here in our community, if your kids are not on like travel baseball teams and like doing baseball as example, like as much of the year as possible, they will not play at the middle or the high school level. Like it just won't happen for them. they just won't make the team because the other kids are playing like nine
Yeah.
plus months out of the year. And I'm like, what have we subscribed to? As a collective, we're like, that's normal now. And I'm sure for every baseball family, there's a hockey family, there's,
Yeah.
so on and so forth. And it's like, what is the reason? Like, if your kid is like, this is my dream, I have skill, I have talent, this is what I'm really
Exactly.
interested in, like, that's fine. But that is not the case for all these kids. There's no way that that is the case for all these children.
Yeah. And so what? You're not on the team in high
Yeah.
school.
Right.
Maybe you'll
Right.
be interested in something else, or maybe not.
Yeah. But
So,
is there space for other interests when you're running constantly? We see a lot of now, we're a dance family.
hmm
I grew up a dancer. The interesting bit of being like a dance family is that the season goes with the school year. So the season is long. So you have to have that stamina, but it's, once or twice a week for the duration of the school year. But there are a lot of families around us who they finish one sport. I'm not even going to try to name the sports because I don't even, I'll get it wrong. But this sport ends, but before it does, this next one ramps up and they've got three kids and they're all going in different directions. And hey, neighbor, I know we're on this. Can you pick my kid up this week and I'll take yours and I'll
yeah.
the coordination on top of having a job and just, humaning. It's so overwhelming even to watch.
Yes, exactly. But I mean, again, like we talked about, I mean, if you're absolutely okay with that and if that's not overbearingly overwhelming, I don't know how.
I know. You're a
Or
projector though too, right, Fran? We're both projectors. Yeah,
yes,
so we're looking at
that
other
is
people like,
true.
what? I know.
Yeah, like I said before, my rhythm is, I don't like too much coming at me at one time. Like even on my daily life, like I plan space in between things and I don't put too many things in one day.
Yes.
Mind you, I'm retired now from
Yeah.
my nursing job and I have, my healing work, but I schedule it out so that I could be the best for my clients and I could be the best for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And, what else is going on that week? I have my podcast and so forth. So I'm very respectful of my time. I just have to be careful sometimes that am I not trusting that time will just take care of itself? And sometimes I'm aware, am I resisting something?
Mm,
That's a whole nother story. But, just again, tuning back in and going, okay, what do I want? What do I really want? And what's in the way? Is there anything in the way? But just naturally, my rhythm is to kind of give space, to
mm-hmm.
myself, which I
Mm-hmm.
like.
Yeah, if you are like, oh, I think I sound like a Fran or a Shannon, and you don't know your human design, figure it out. It's very simple. You can just type in like human design chart and you plug in some info and it spits it out. But it's very telling because I can look at other people and go, oh, you are definitely not the same design as me because you go from the minute you get up to the minute your head
Yeah.
hits the pillow at night. You're just busy, 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 busy. And I love that for you if that's you, but it's
Yeah,
not me.
and actually projectors and generators, I think, are really good matches together for collaboration. One balances the other. So,
That's interesting. My
yeah.
husband, my husband is a generator. Except I think he might be in his shadow because his energy is sometimes less than mine. But that's a story for another day. But it's very
Yeah.
interesting. The generators have like the staying power to
hmm
stick with things. And one of my clients, she's a big generator, and she's like, just plug into my energy. Come along. Like, thank you.
But I'm sure you really balance her because projectors are born leaders also. So they're able to kind of take charge, but in a different energy, which generators, I think, benefit from.
Yeah, I seem to attract a type. And I think that's why. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love being in that. And I also love that I can step away and not be in it when I, need the time.
Exactly.
It's so interesting to learn these pieces about yourself, especially within the context of life and mothering, because you're like, oh, no wonder. No wonder,
hmm
It's so
hmm
interesting.
Yeah,
Mm. Can you please talk more about the work that you're doing now and how a mother in today's world might benefit from some of the modalities that you offer?
sure. Thank you. So, my background is as a holistic nurse coach. And then I went very much focused, I would say more over the past like year, focused more on the healing work, really working with people who want to connect more to themselves and really connect more to their intuition and find a way to navigate through. It could be motherhood, it could be health, it could be relationships, but mostly relationship with themselves. And some of the modalities that I use are the Akashic Records, which I think some people know about and some people don't. And basically, the Akashic Records, it's like a library of your consciousness. It's everything that has ever happened to you through eternity, everything you've ever said, everything you've ever done. It's like an energetic library, and you can access your record keepers who are guides that help you connect to yourself, and then they guide you on resistance, fears, patterns, and then there's healing that goes on. If you're open to doing some healing, they can help transmute that energy for you. So, as a mom, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling a sense of fear, perfectionism, lack of clarity, that is a big, the uncertainty, the unknown, that's part of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Akashic records are very helpful in giving you some insight and connecting to your intuition, and then giving you like a broader perspective of what's going on for you. And then there's healing that goes on in the records. And there's different tools and techniques of healing, but that depends on every session is very unique for what the person's looking for. I think overall it's a sense of kind of coming back to yourself, and feeling that sense of peace within yourself. And then the other modality that I love that I've been using for years is emotional freedom technique. And I think a lot of people are familiar with that. It's a mind body tool that connects to, your amygdala in your brain. So it helps to decrease stress and anxiety, overwhelm, helps with any emotion that you have, and even anger or phobias or, resistance. And it works really quickly. So it's using 9 acupressure points. It was created by Roger Callahan, a psychologist in the 80s. And then Gary Craig, who just actually passed recently, he took it because he was an engineer and he simplified the technique. So it's very easy to learn. And then working with a practitioner is helpful because we all have blind spots, right? And it's like peeling an onion of what's going on the deepest level and transmuting that energy that's stuck, maybe physically for pain, emotionally, spiritually. It works for, on all levels of your being. So it really quickly, I feel, can give you a perspective. When we're stressed out and we're anxious, we can't have clarity because we're in a stress response. So it helps give you perspective on a situation. So if you go from a 10 down to a 4, it's like all of a sudden, all those emotions kind of get cut off that you had before that were running you, your belief systems in your subconscious, and you just feel more relaxed, more centered, more grounded. You're able to find perhaps a solution to an issue with your kids, with your husband, or your partner, or your wife, or a friend. But focusing on motherhood, kind of that inner critic, that perfectionism, because that really ran me for many years of having to like achieve something external opposed to just accepting myself how I was, how I am. And then from there, you can really move forward in your relationships with your kids or with anyone that you're dealing with. So that's what I'm up to these days, you know? So I'm enjoying it. And I find that when I work with people, they really are able to reconnect to themselves instead of spinning and being kind of like in fear and resistance.
Yeah, I have many things I want to say about this because I know you and I've worked with you. Tapping is my favorite tool that I always forget about.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love working with someone on it because you can watch a tapping video, but if it's not addressing your particular thing that you're working on, you're not exact, especially if you're new to it. Like, what should I be telling myself? And I need to be thinking of that and hitting the points and da 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 da. But I think it was last year. I was meeting my friend. She lives on the other side of the state, so we were going to meet in the middle for her birthday. And the roads got really bad, really quick, weather-wise. There was a
Hmm.
lot of snow, and it was one of those like I was only 45 minutes in, and I was going to have to drive another 45 minutes into this, and I without even thinking started tapping and I think I forgot one of the points but I remembered most of them and I was like, I am safe, I am okay. My body knew what I needed and I dropped in and I pulled over and I
Hmm.
called my friend and I said, I don't think I'm coming. But if
Yeah.
I would have just kept this panic response, I don't know what I would have done. I don't know if I would have just kept driving or having a full on panic attack or what have you. But all to say, once you learn this, it's so interesting to watch yourself just kick back into it. Your body
Yes.
remembers.
It's such a quick, really, of course, you know, depending on what you're dealing with, there might be several sessions that you have to have. I mean, it depends on the trauma and so forth. We
Sure.
all have small traumas and big traumas.
Right.
But just
Yeah.
like anxiety, like in a situation like that, I've many times been tapping, holding on with one hand
It's exactly.
and just tapping. And there's just certain points that you can use just rubbing that go right up to the brain and just decrease anxiety and stress hormones, the cortisol, you know, just by going right here on the collarbone points in between. You can feel like if everyone just tries it now and just crisscross and just dig in to right below your collarbone, you probably will feel a soreness. And, you know, there's some congestion in there. The energy is not moving. And if you have anxiety and you just think about something that's making you anxious, whether you're driving, well, you can't do that when you're driving,
Yeah. Yeah.
but, you know, you can even do one
One
side.
side.
But it's just amazing how quickly it actually works.
Yeah.
Pretty miraculous. Where the Akashic records, you know, also work very quickly, but it's a little bit different. It's just a different modality, you
Hmm.
know, but
Hmm.
also makes you very aware of patterns and, you know, so many vows that we make and cultural imprints and all that stuff, you know, we get a better perspective on if that's
Yeah.
happening for you.
Yeah. So Fran did an Akashic record reading for me and something that had kind of been circling. It was interesting. I had the session with you, and then Andrea Gibson, her episode was on a few weeks ago. She does soul readings, and it came up. She offered one to me. It was fabulous. The same thing came up there, and then it actually came up in therapy. And I was like, okay, okay. It was just the story of like fear is driving your bus, Shannon. Fear is driving your bus. And to hear it three times from three different people, I was like,
Yes.
okay. So you worked with me on that, and it brought such an awareness. One, like I was like, I'm aware, but I didn't realize like quite how much it was there. And of course, we have animal brains. Fear is serving a purpose to keep us safe, but it switches over to a point where it is just impeding us and our
Yeah.
progress and our growth and our daily lives. And you helped me a lot with that.
I'm so happy
Like
to hear that.
a lot. And yeah, it of course I still have the animal brain, so it does kick in everyone, but I can
Oh,
identify it immediately. I'm like, no, no, thank you. Thank you for trying to keep me safe.
that's the thing that is so important, I think, for people to understand is that it's okay that we go into stress response
Yeah.
because that's just who we are as human beings. But we also, the judgment of it is what makes us suffer.
Mm, yeah.
And it enables you to get a different perspective where you can come back. Because when we're in toxic worry and we're in intense fear of the unknown, we kind of know it, but we don't realize that we're so much in judgment and self-criticism at the same time.
Yeah.
And then when we get a little perspective through, working, and there's many ways to find that path. These are just two that I love. It really, all of a sudden we get this perspective, and then we're able to nurture ourselves, with the support of the practitioner. But also you can learn how to read your own records, and you can also use EFT on yourself once that's the big thing for me as a nurse, is being able to integrate modalities and teach people, especially going through health crisis, how to empower themselves. And that it's so much stress with chronic disease that makes it so much worse. And so many people, I think we take for granted that people know how to regulate their nervous system, and a lot of people just don't. A
Hmm.
lot of people do, but a lot of people don't.
I think a lot of us don't realize we're dysregulated to begin with.
Exactly. Exactly. That's my main point that I wanted to make, that we're all get into stress responses. We're human beings. And okay, so I'm dysregulated. What can I do to come back home to myself, to maybe see another way, another path out of this situation? And remember Wayne Dyer used to say, there's always a spiritual solution to every problem. I think it was a book. He has a whole book on that, but there's always a solution, but we have to quiet. And that's where we're, you know, in peace.
Hmm.
Until the next time.
Right, right. Yes.
But that's okay, because the more we do this kind of work, just like the longer you meditate, you get a different perspective on your life and on issues that come up.
Hmm. Hmm. And I say, even with little kids, it's important to give yourself that space. And it's okay to be like, Mom needs a minute. I'm gonna
Yeah,
come back and we're gonna move forward, but I need a minute right now. If something activates you during the day, like you deserve a few moments to help
yeah.
yourself through that.
And I just want to mention too that teaching kids how to tap from a
Oh,
very young age
yes.
is something that is incredible to teach your kids, because they will have a way to soothe themselves that they
Mm,
can do that's in their fingertips. And for tests, for stress, for tests, because we know kids get a lot of stress over that, of course. And for situations with friends, fights, arguments, feeling left out, third wheel, or all the things that kids go through. And now with all of the use of phones and social media, and comparison to someone else, which is all bull anyway, because it's all
yeah,
not real, but
right.
it's harder for kids to see that. I mean, this is a beautiful tool. If anybody actually wants to get on a call with me for 30 minutes and just learn the technique so they can work with their kids and teach it to them, I didn't even think of that, but I'd be happy to do that too.
Sign me up. I love that idea. I love it. And my 9-year-old would so respond to that. Very much so. Good
Yeah.
stuff. It's good stuff, right? Because we can't be with them every minute of every day. They do co-regulate with us. That is totally normal part of their growth and evolution as little humans. And they have to go out into the world and into their classrooms and onto the playground. And then they have to, do some of these things, or they can learn to do some of these things to cope on their own.
Yeah.
My oldest was in occupational therapy when she was little for some sensory things, and
Uh-huh.
her OT taught her a few things to help her And it was more to work the mind body kind of connection as they were starting their session to kind of drop in. But there are things that we still use. One of them is like caterpillars. You take your like index finger, and then in your other index finger, you start at the tip of your finger and you dig in like a little caterpillar eating a leaf. And I sometimes catch her, if she's
Oh, that's
activated.
great.
It's not tapping, but it's the same kind of thing to like
Yeah.
drop back into your body and go, okay, let me take a second.
But there are acupressure points in your
Oh,
fingertips.
well, good.
So they are actually tapping into some points, which might be helping them.
Yeah.
We have so many acupressure points all over our bodies. So,
Yeah. Oh, I think the kids need it, Fran. I think the kids would benefit.
oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh my gosh. Okay, please tell everyone how they can find and follow you and the podcast and your work.
Sure. Thank you. My podcast is called It's Messy, but It's So Good. And I'm going to be coming up with some solo podcasts in the near future. Primarily, I've been interviewing all different people who have all different types of passions that I called it It's Messy, but It's So Good because it's messy. And it's not from A to B that we go through a creative process. And I love the hero's journey, and I love listening to people's story of an idea that they have and how they brought it into fruition despite things being messy, and what has helped them that could also help listeners. So some of the solo podcasts, I'm going to probably be going more into my infertility story, and motherhood, and also, some of the modalities that I use. And what I have now is a couple of different offers. I have a 30-minute EFT session, which is very affordable, and a 30-minute Akashic record consultation that's very affordable. And I have links for that I'll provide with you. And then I have a package if you want to just delve into like 3 sessions. It's also very affordable because I want people to be able to, really try these modalities without it being overwhelmingly out of their reach, especially moms and families where there's, we talked about so many expenses. So that's really what I have going on right now. And I think that's it. That's primarily what I'm offering at this time.
It's so good. It's so good. Like I said, having the opportunity to get to know Fran over the past couple of years, I am just so grateful that you're in my orbit and
Well,
that
thank
I
you.
get to learn from you and, just be in a space with you. It's such a gift. Fran, you are amazing. So everyone, make sure you check out her offers. All those links will be in the show notes. And Fran, please come back after your daughter has had her baby and you've had some perspective from a grandma because,
Oh, I would love that.
I would love to know more what it's like. I mean, I can't imagine myself there yet, but I know I'll blink and I'll be there too. So,
And especially I would love that because being a podcast host and also a guest, it's such an incredible experience because you learn so much from the person you're interviewing, but it also gives them an opportunity to reflect on their own lives.
yeah.
And we don't always get to tell our stories. And being now like going into being a grandma, that would be, I think I have to see, I think I'm going to be a Mimi, or I'm not quite sure.
Uh, the
I
countdown is
haven't picked a
on.
name yet, but being able to then reflect back on how am I feeling about that? What was the experience like? Because I am going to be with my daughter through labor. She invited me
Oh,
into the room, which I'm feel so
oh.
excited, a little scared. I'm actually taking a lay doula course.
Are you?
Yes, I didn't even know this existed, but I'm reading the book What to Expect When You're Expecting, which is an oldie but goodie.
Oh, yeah.
And it has in there some links, about doulas. And my daughter is not choosing not to have a doula. But even though I'm a nurse, I was not a labor and delivery nurse, and I had kids many, many years ago. So I thought, let me see. And I found this link in the book, and it was like a lay doula course, which is only 3 hours, but it kind of goes over for grandparents, for, partners. And I think it's going to make me feel a little bit more comfortable that I'm helping her with, in the best light and
Yeah.
helping her the best that I can. So I haven't told her yet, but
That is so special. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
And I reflect on this a lot. I'm like, we still need our moms. If, like even when I had my daughter, my first one, and the labor was hard and I was very pro epidural, but she was in the room, not for the actual delivery. I was like, I don't want anyone extra seeing this. Like nobody, I don't want to see it either. My personal stance for me. But when I had gotten the epidural, she was like, you look like you're still hurting. I was like, I am still hurting. She's like, hit the button, call the nurse, get her back in here. You shouldn't feel a thing. And I was like, thanks, Mom, because I would have just suffered through it,
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Because, having a mom there is special. It's
yeah,
special for me to be there, and it's special for my daughter asked me to be there.
that's
I
so
said, "Are you
great.
sure your husband's okay with that?" She goes, "Yeah, yeah, he's fine." I said, "You
Oh,
asked him, right?"
yeah.
Because I didn't ask her to be there. I wanted to respect, their time and everything. But
Yeah.
when she asked me, I was just thrilled.
Oh, well, that is so special. And what's her name? What's your daughter's name?
Sarah,
Sarah, we are sending you all of the best labor, delivery, postpartum vibes and love. And same
thank
to you,
you.
Fran. You're going to be a fantastic Mimi, Glama, whatever you land on.
Grandma. Oh, that's a good one.
Sarah's going to be in my inbox like, why did you tell her that? Oh my gosh. Fran, thank you again for your time. It's always so special. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
you.
Shannon. I love being with you and your audience, and I'll see you in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, take care. Bye bye.
Thanks for listening to Speak Mother. If this resonated, share it with a friend, and don't forget to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Keep speaking your truth. I'll meet you back here soon.